Thank you, and welcome to our inaugural episode of our web series, Sales It, Winning Sales Tips for Event Profs. Today, we're going to learn about the sales mentality. And I don't mean about the overconfident, egotistical salesperson that will go around talking to everybody. I mean the true sales mentality needed in this day and age to win and grow your event in the events industry. So with us today, we have a special guest, Debbie Langelier, who will be interviewing and asking a slew of questions about her role, her sales process, and what she thinks that every salesperson needs in this day and age. So thank you for joining us, Debbie. We really appreciate that. Why don't you tell the audience a little bit about yourself and what you do?
I've been in the business for 27 years. I started as a general service contractor from graphic design, customer service, and eventually to national sales and account management. I currently work for National Training and Simulation Association as Director of Exhibits and Sponsorships, managing a top 200 trade show.
So Debbie, what is the top trait that you look for when you're hiring a sales professional?
I would have to say honesty and integrity. If I don't trust you, our customers won't trust you, and that's really important to me. Trust is one of my top factors in hiring people.
Those are definitely some key traits right there. Are there any others that you look for outside of the hiring aspect of it, but just in salesperson in general?
I think your ability to listen and your ability to have thick skin. You're going to get told no a lot in our business, so you better be able to get over it really quickly and get on to the next sales call.
So Debbie, you mentioned some good differences in the sales processes, especially some future trends that might affect the entire sales role itself. One thing on the mind of everybody is big data, and big data plays a key factor in the sales process now as well. So can you share your thoughts on big data and then any tips that you might give for the audience?
I would agree with you. Big data is a key decision maker for exhibitors when they're buying space. So if we don't have data to back up what we're selling, to me it's a non-starter in today's industry. So we just revamped our entire registration system to have even more data if that's possible. But I always say the more data you have, the easier the sale is going to be for you.
So one thing that I definitely want to touch base on again is something you just said before, is everyone's weird has a weird.
Agree. You have somebody out there that likes your weird and they like your weird, so that would be a perfect sales match.
Okay, I love that, especially in this day and age, and I think everyone needs to just start being themselves.
100% agree.
100%. All right. In today's industry, the events industry itself is dominated by women, and it's a hot topic nowadays. So how do you view yourself as a woman in the events industry, specifically in sales? And any tips that you would like to give?
Well, outside of it, besides being a woman, I'm a salesperson first, so we can take the gender out of it. But stop trying to pretend that you're not a woman. I mean, we are women, that's who we are. We're either nice or we're called super aggressive. So I just say be yourself. I mean, it goes back to find your weird, be who you are and not try to be someone else.
Great, I love that answer. I appreciate that, thank you. So some of the things that we wanted to talk about were, and especially since you mentioned the 80s, 90s, and now, how has sales changed over the last couple of years?
Well, I do remember back when I first started that it was very much a male-oriented role. So you wrote your contract on a cocktail napkin.
And this is when you were 12, right?
That's, yes, before drinking was legal.
Before drinking was legal, yeah.
And I think it started and then it became really legalized. That's really what I like to call sales now. It's all about contracts and legal. But you still buy from, I think the one thing that hasn't changed is you still buy from people that you know.
Okay. And trust?
Trust is a big factor too. Okay.
And is that specific to the events industry or just in general now?
I think that's in general. I mean, I just bought a brand new car last year, and I really trusted my sales guy, who actually happened to be a former exhibitor of mine, so maybe that's why. But I trusted him, and I think it's the same way in sales, or a car, or an events industry. If I didn't trust you, there's no way I would go to bat for you. Because we all have bosses, and we all have to say, hey, I agree to buy from this person.
Great. If there was one thing in sales, starting tomorrow, that you didn't have to do anymore, what would it be?
Being kind to difficult people. I mean, it takes everything I have not to win an Oscar to have to be nice to those kind of people.
And I bet Leo DiCaprio would appreciate that one as well.
Well, I have a date with him later, so.
Okay. So, on the topic of embracing your weird, if I were to jump in your car right now, what song would be on?
This is probably a little too old for you, since we're a little bit of an age difference, but It Takes Two to Make a Thing Go Right.
And lastly, Debbie, to wrap this all up, do you have any closing remarks for our audience specifically on the sales role and the sales mentality?
I do. Be you. Be your weirdness. Find your weirdness that you can sell to. And that's it.
All right, well, that's great information there and great tips for everybody. Thank you, Debbie, for joining us, and thank you to the National Press Club for hosting us here in this lovely venue. If you want, you can follow up on our blog where we'll go ahead and put all the key learnings from this web series. So just remember, embrace your weird, and we'll see you next time.